Dork back again. Today we're going to go to Qlik Dork episode number 22. I'm calling this one Laughing All the Way to the CPM Bank, because corporate planning and management is usually a boring subject. I'm going to try to make it more humorous for you with my guest today, but the great news is, as funny as it can be, it is a serious field and serious use, and if it's done well, you can ride that all the way to the bank. Great market value. My guest today is Lars Buchner, who's the head of global sales with K4 Analytics. And I know y'all are multitasking. You're eating lunch, grabbing a drink, or checking out LinkedIn. Be sure to capture this information and go ahead and connect with Lars right now. And I also have with me Andrea Traverso, who's the co-founder and CTO of K4 Analytics. And we are going to be talking about CPM stuff. And so, guys, we are celebrating, as you know, Qlik's 30th anniversary this year. Right now is the time that we're celebrating. We're having fika for those who understand what fika is in the Swedish culture. I just had extra snacks and cakes. Normally, though, it's tough to have a conversation about a 30th anniversary because a lot of people in this field are under 30. They can't even imagine that Qlik is 30, let alone that that's like half of my life. That's only half my life. And it's a pleasure to talk to you guys, because you guys have been around more than like a day. And you can appreciate the fact that Qlik as a company has been here for 30 years. Give us just a little bit of information about your background to help us understand this isn't something that's new to you.
Yes, okay. Sorry, Andrea. I just would like to step in and say hello. Because I just have something around 20 years in that industry, different stages for global CPM vendors, and with that, as head of global sales for K4, I try to have fun because I just drink water, and I'm from Germany, so we do not have that much fun. So let's move to Andrea, and with a much wider experience in the end.
Unfortunately, my experience is longer than QlikView life itself, because I started back more than 30 years ago. 36. So at that time, there was no BI, no CPM, it was just DSS, decision support systems. To cut the long story short, I'm a building engineer with an MBA, and I love software. In my previous life, I was co-designer of a CPM well-known product board, and today I'm co-founder and CTO at K4 Analytics, a proud Qlik technology partner.
And we are happy to have you as a technology partner. Now, there's something really special when you say I've been around, longer than Qlik. You do have something distinguishing about you in relation to Qlik. And QlikView, for those of you old enough to realize, that was the product that we had prior to Qlik Sense or Qlik Cloud Analytics or the data integration tools we have. What was the proud thing that you have the distinction of in regarding QlikView?
I think I am the first one who wrote an extension for doing write back in QlikView with the beta of QlikView 10 back in 2010.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. Yeah. And believe it or not, I was old enough to know that. I've been a long time bleeding green, gray, and white. So before we get started with the demo, Andrea, I can't wait to see what you've got for us. I think you both have a lot of credibility in the CPM field. Lars, go ahead. I know you've got a few slides to share. And for those of you watching, don't freak out when you see some of these first slides, because when I saw them, I was like, wow, that's a little different. And then it clicked. No pun intended.
No pun.
Perfect. Let's have a Qlik. So it's a pleasure. right now. Shared. Okay. Screens are shared?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, who we are, K4 Analytics. Long story short, plan, collect, and embed. And what's behind that? Let us have a short view back in, not 2010. Let us have a view into 2002. There was somebody who said, I want to do a revolution in the market, in the personal mobility. That was 2002. Segway came into the market. It was a hype. And with a story to make a revolution for the personal mobility. In the end, what do we see in the end? We see some segways anywhere. But the big change...
Usually at tourist locations.
Yeah.
It didn't revolutionize my home life or going anywhere, but they're fun when you're on a vacation.
Yes, from time to time, but not the big revolution. You agree?
Not a revolution.
Yeah. In the end, what do we see all around the globe? A small piece. That means we do have the bicycles, and we do have, over the last decade, an optimization of something existing. That means no revolution in the personal mobility, but something was optimized with a small motor, with an e-motor. Put it in the bike, and the bike is right now the hype, more or less.
It does it. It is phenomenal. I live in an older community. It's an active adult community. But for those who would simply be unable, and I live in the state of Georgia, we've got a lot of hills. Many of the older people would not be able to ride bikes. The electric motors help them on the hill where they would need it. And then they can get exercise and begin building strength, which I think it is phenomenal. Not a revolution, but a great use of a very tiny little technology.
Right. And we see first time K4, and that means the last stage, plan, collect, and embed with K4 with a single multi-platform solution. Andrea will dive deep later into that. But what do? We extend leading BI platforms like the Qlik with the planning features and data entry features. And that's more or less all. Long story short, in the end, we see here the Qlik dashboard, including our spreadsheet model. And that's the other story, that we use the spreadsheet model to integrate it into the dashboard for writing bad or for planning or for budgeting. Even the CPM parts, you said it's boring, it's not so funny, but I love to build the CPM solutions, and that's based on the spreadsheet model, and in the background.
So hang on a second.
Yeah,
there's a lot on this slide as people are taking this in. If I were thinking about planning, when I do my own planning and budgeting, I use chalkboards, I use whiteboards, I use a paper ledger, and every now and then I do use a spreadsheet. But for those that this is their livelihood, that spreadsheet look and feel is the real deal. And I know we're going to be getting into this. And if you're looking at it like, it just looks like a table, it's formatted nicely. I think others are going to be blown away when they understand when you're saying spreadsheet, you mean spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Before we move on, I also want to see here, I get the idea, and I think our prospects customers have heard about write back solutions. So you're collecting information on the screen in a look and feel that people are very used to for planning and budgeting. We get the idea of writing to a database, and I'm assuming that SQL database could be anything behind the scenes that we'd actually want. Right. So we won't get into flavors, but it's an ice cream store with lots of flavors. Right. What I'm puzzled about is that Teams logo on the left side of the screen. So I've got my data, I'm working with it. in my analytic solution, as opposed to just being on a chalkboard, or just being on a whiteboard, or just being on paper, or just being in a spreadsheet. And I'm sure you guys can explain the thought process behind that, but what does this have to do with teams?
Yeah, it's very easy. If you imagine for today, you do have a lot of processes where you collect data in the entire companies via Excel, spreadsheet, attached at an email. Then you have to consolidate the data, bring it back to the database, and push it into the dashboard. With our integration into Teams, you can easily build that based on the spreadsheet model, collect the data directly written back into the SQL base, and use it in a front end like a dashboard in Qlik. It's very easy. For example, for ESG data that not existing in ERP solution or accounting solutions.
Yep.
You can collect any data via Teams with a spreadsheet-based model. It could be comments or just something like a questionnaire for the HR department. So think about these processes, spreadsheet-based processes where you collect data in the entire company. Therefore, you do not use normally an analytics platform.
And so if your workflow would include people who are not the analysts, not people doing the planning, but you need to include that information as part of the workflow. And you're saying your solution can get all that information in whatever normal path their workflow might be in.
That's
exactly. Yeah.
Andrea, he's setting the bar kind of high for you, man. I don't know if you guys are friends or not, but he's pretty much raising this bar, dude. You're going to have to deliver here, man.
We have a lot of fun together with Lars.
I can confirm that, yes.
Okay. I thought maybe he's just setting you up. He's painted a target on you. I know you're going to deliver, buddy.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's more or less the slide decks. Andrea, something to add, or should we speak about 3 buzz points like SAP later?
We can speak later. Maybe I can show it live. Then, if you want, you can then describe what's behind the scenes.
Now I'm writing this down on my paper because I'm going to hold you to that. We're going to come back and talk about what this would have to do with SAP. I guarantee that we're not letting that one off the hook. All right, fantastic.
Okay,
right. You need to stop sharing your screen, and you can feel free to share yours, Andrea.
Yeah, thanks. Let me share very quickly. Oh, okie dokie. So hopefully you can see my screen. Okay, so probably you're familiar with the container, which is our beloved Qlik Sense, where we have some filters on the left, so I can simply click and change the division or the year or the month. And as I'm doing this, you'll notice that the big object in the center is refreshing. So what's happening?
Yep, I do know that. And that green, gray, and white associative engine is what we all know and love and has served Qlik well for 30 years.
Yep. So now it's time to even extend even further the Qlik environment, because we strongly believe that the best place to support corporate performance management processes, budgeting, planning, forecasting, is where you do the analysis. And in Qlik, we have all the power to analyze all sorts of information from all sorts of sources. And with K4, we can do within Qlik, into your Qlik dashboard, we can support the technically entering data, writing back to a backend SQL database.
So that's genius, right? Instead of just doing it on a spreadsheet and then waiting for somebody else next week to get back with us with an analysis, you're saying that your customers are using this right where they're doing their analytics so that they can see the effects immediately. So if they need to change a value, they can change it right then.
Yeah, correct.
That is an interesting concept.
And there is no redundancy of all the analysis part, which is so well done by Qlik, because the other possibility would be to use a specialized CPM or FP&A, financial planning and analysis software. But in there, I have to reload the data. I have the analysis part, which I have already in Qlik. It doesn't make sense to recreate everything in another less able and powerful in analytic environment. So that's the same philosophy.
Yeah, they work with it in an isolated environment, and the meetings end with now go do analytics, and then somebody says, "Can you read that data into Qlik?" So I can do analytics on the data, right? And so this you're cutting out the middleman here. You're actually doing the work inside of Qlik while you do the analytics.
And we are trying to do it with the minimal impact on the way people are used to work. And since the most used environment for entering data, collecting data has been, and it is also till today, the spreadsheet.
It's spreadsheet.
What we have here is not Excel, but is a fully 100% Excel compatible spreadsheet object. So it looks and feels like Excel, and I can change my numbers, and I will have my formula recalculated with conditional formatting, with color coding, all the features that you can have in Excel. But the data here are connected live to, on one end, the backend SQL database. So it means that I change my number, I just click, and when I save, the data are saved back on the fly to the backend SQL database. Now, what I'm using is a very simple example with the P&L, just to try to transfer explain the idea.
That's crazy. And this look and feel looks really real. I mean, this looks, sometimes it's just pure tabular rows. And sometimes, you know, I've seen sheets that have stuff like this where it's like, hey, here's a number here, you know, here's something rolled up, right? So you can get
but it's extremely important that this is not a pivot table with data entry, but really leverage the spreadsheet. And what is actually happening in real life at our customers is that very often they are taking what they are currently using to support planning and budgeting with Excel models and spreadsheets, and they reuse without the data inside K4 and therefore inside Qlik, but the data are coming live from both Qlik. So in this example, we have the actuals which are coming on the fly from Qlik. So we merge on the fly data from Qlik with data from the backend SQL database, and then we provide in a spreadsheet form.
Nice. Great integration. Great integration.
The goal is to ask people not to change as less as possible, because we don't want to force them to learn a new software. This is Qlik with an embedded Excel-looking spreadsheet, so that is very easy and simple to learn and to use.
Exactly.
And not only we can enter data, comments, but we can even have fully threaded conversation linked to a single data point stored in the backend database. So it is extremely rich in the way we can support the planning or budgeting process, also supporting the asynchronous collaboration between the different actors in the process.
So you're not just taking a single comment, right? It's not just me overriding Lars' most recent comment. You're actually tracking an entire conversation.
Yeah.
Because this is crazy for those of you watching at home. There's often conversations about whether something should be done or not. Just saying. It's not always as easy. We make it look fun in demo. Oh, I think this should happen, and just magically happens because I said so. And so those conversations are the entire conversation is kept there. And so it looked like you must have had clicked that, brought up the real window. But I can see that there's 5 things there. And then do I get some notification if I come in here that there's something kind of waiting for my input or my part of the workflow?
Yeah, we can configure the small icons here to alert based on rules. For example, you can become red if there are new conversations that I did with new items in the comments in the conversation. I can highlight and browse all the conversations, so I can have an overview. Maybe I have hundreds of cells in my spreadsheet, but there are just few comments spread around. But I have also a browser I can use to browse the conversations, and I can say, okay, I want to see only the conversation where Bill participated or where Susan, and then I double click it, and I have the conversation.
Here's what I love about this, and this is going to be really weird that I'm going to go way down in this conversations data. But I love data, and I love doing analytics on data. And I can imagine as part of our workflow that if I were, in charge of millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, and there's a budget plan being made, I would want to know whether people have actually chimed in or whether it was just Dalton's plan, right? Did the Qlik dork just write this? Nobody else has actually seen it. Nobody else has put in their 2 cents. It was just done. And so your conversations, not only can I see them and I can put comments in and capture them all, you actually have that data stored as well in SQL. So I could run analytics on that to say, hey, this budget line has had no user input, right? It was created 3 months ago. Nobody's ever chimed in. We might want to bring that one up in a meeting to say, hey, is it just so obvious that's the right thing, or is it so complicated nobody's wanted to put their 2 cents in to get the conversation started?
And I can also have a quick and simple overview and see who is talking with whom. So I can see that Edward had 2 conversations with Susan. I got one with Bill, or Susan was mentioned once by Edward. So the cross analysis of conversations in the process.
And now, what do you have all those really cool icons for? Because I can see what looks like a WhatsApp type of an application, an icon, an email, a LinkedIn.
Yeah, if I have installed, I can launch. I can double click and launch Skype.
Okay.
Or directly from here.
And then with that conversation, if I type something to her in Skype, it's captured by you then?
No.
Okay, that's just it. So that's to start an external conversation.
Yeah, exactly. It's a springboard.
Okay, cool. Okay, that's really cool. So sorry for everybody watching who's more interested in the really cool colored stuff over on that side. We'll get back there. But I think those conversations are important because that's what planning is about.
Okay, so this was just a simple example using a spreadsheet. One thing that may be nice to show is that this is a dynamic object, and if I simulate in this demo environment, Edward is the manager, Bill and Susan are product manager. So Edward can see the entire profit and loss statement, but if I'm Susan, I'm simulating now, and Susan, I can only look at the data up to the gross margin. So the entire object can be configured without any programming with rules that will determine who can see and can do what dynamically.
That's crazy cool. Yep.
And this inside Qlik, just with variables and calculations with the power of Qlik integrated is fantastic. If we want to develop very rich and simple to use applications for supporting planning within
so cool.
Qlik.
Yes.
And that is our fun. As pretty
that's our fun.
Is, You had to remind me this time. Like I said, green, white on. People are inside the Qlik doing this. Okay.
If you look here, there is a button on the top because we can have buttons that will allow the end user to interact either with the backend database, so they can be used to trigger, for example, a store procedure, to execute a store procedure in SQL to manipulate the data or a SQL statement. But, and this is coming in a few weeks, we are adding also the integration with webhooks, through which we can integrate, for example, with Qlik application automation.
Stop. Are you guys trying to be my BFFs now? Is that what it is? You guys may or may not know, Qlik application is just something that I just absolutely love. Look forward to seeing not only how Qlik as a company is extending it, but how our partners are using it. And I can absolutely see the beauty of calling Qlik application automation as part of the workflow. And then you're going to show me the team's usage, I imagine. Yep. And what I would imagine here is I'm doing the work. My boss doesn't come in necessarily and play with everything there, but I may want to get his approval and send the same thing to him through Teams for his sign off. And so, that I think is huge, but that's coming.
Yeah, but it's coming early December. So
early December 2023.
2023.
You've been around too long. I know how this game works.
2023.
December. Yeah, 2027.
No.
December 2023. Very cool.
And look at this. Thanks to Qlik. If I have this button, which can be used to approve the version, the initial version. But if I change the version, is like a filter within the K4 to revision 1, also my button is dynamically changing, but not only the label, because if we switch to editing mode and we look at the properties of this object, so that's the way developers can leverage simply K4 within Qlik. And if we look here, we have the URL to execute a Qlik automation where the version is coming as a parameter, a dynamic parameter.
Nice. And so I hadn't even thought to ask you this yet. You handle versioning, right? So it's not like Barbara gets in here, spills her coffee, and all of a sudden she's just edited a whole bunch of rows of data, or they're gone. And they're like, yeah, I'm in trouble now. You actually have versions and can allow things to be rolled back like that. Okay.
Yeah. And let me go back to Edward.
I saw audit trails and everything. It's almost like you've actually thought this through.
For some time, yes. And you can...
Almost, huh? Nice.
And we can have one-click access from a single cell to the full audit trail of that data point.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they're fully fledged. And
I love it.
We can also, this was an example with P&L. Now, this is an example with some sales data where we are entering data of sales budget by month and by brand. But it is also to show the level of interaction and integration with Qlik. This is the K4 object. And obviously here, I am, in this moment, I am working at the brand level along a product hierarchy. We are selling, imagine, tennis rackets, and we have Babolat Head, Wilson. But this is the higher level in our hierarchy. We have brand, product groups, and products. So I can, at any level, I can change my numbers. And when I save, the changes will be spread automatically along the hierarchy. Now, if I put 1 million point 2 in Babolat, if I drill by line, see that the 1.2 million has been spread to the 3 product groups.
Now, how did you do that?
You want to know the secret
actually
recipe? No, I can't give you the secret recipe.
No, no. That's not what I meant.
Yeah, no, I was kidding.
What I'm
kidding.
seeing, right? Like the way that would be done in spreadsheets is there'd be formulas, right? It'd be, hey, this is my budget is 18% of that. This one is 33% of it. So when you change that higher level number, right? And that's kind of what you've done here somewhere, right? These are really formulas because this is really a spreadsheet working.
But this is done on the back end, because I could have thousands or hundreds of thousands of SKUs or products belonging to a brand. So the spread back of an aggregate data entered at a higher level or along the hierarchy is done automatically in the SQL database. Because that's this K4 server engine that does this in a smart way. So it has the intelligence to analyze on the fly the structure of all the tables and determine what he has to do automatically.
Very cool. That's awesome.
And if you notice here, when I'm drilling, so now I can drill down a product, you can see here on the left, these are standard filters Qlik. So K4 is automatically communicating with Qlik and at every interaction telling to the Qlik container, look, I'm here, I'm drilling, and I'm now by product, and you can see that there is a variable where we store the level. So it's done in a very simple way, but extremely powerful. I can even change the variable, and I will go up, and I will drive the K4 object. So it's bidirectional.
And I think that was important, because this may not be the full screen, and I could have other KPIs on top. Right. And as I'm interacting, those numbers would be reflected in the top as well. Yeah.
Exactly. Great. So I showed this. Just to complete the subject of, this is more technical, but there are other objects in the K4 object, like menus, that can be used to set the variables in Qlik. So they are simple things, but they are extremely powerful in terms of integrating what's happening in K4 with the container dashboard and the bidirectional connection. Okay, and I think to finish our live demo, we can...
before you finish that live demo, whoa, back up. No. Go back.
Okay, I tried.
Go back to that really pretty screen where you started showing how to edit the template itself.
Oh, yeah. But this is Excel. So if I open Excel, the template that we were looking at for example, for the P&L is this. So you design simply with Excel. There is nothing else.
So when you started bringing up that screen and it looked kind of ugly and it looked really scary, it was really just visualizing what was pulled right out of literally an Excel template. So if I've got to do the same thing for 5 different departments, 5 different organizations, I'm really creating this beautiful layout in Excel that's getting utilized by you and visualized inside of Qlik. That's pretty crazy. And then I see some like real formulas and things up there at the top of that line.
Yeah, like the ratio or the difference between the
budget. Look at real formulas, real functions, and real code from Excel, where you normally like to do it.
And as you can imagine, it's not only interesting for our customers, this approach, but also for Qlik partners that nowadays more and more they are building their own IP applications. And with this, they can develop very quickly and deliver a very nice application.
Yeah, because then they can build these templates as kind of an accelerator.
Yeah.
Right. They may put their little partner brand in there, their little consulting agency brand in there. You do whatever it is that they want. But the key thing there, when you brought up that screen, you kind of scared me. And I'm sure some other people were scared. That's why we were coming back to it. I don't want to leave them scared like, man, that's got to be really complicated to make things look this good. This is stuff that everybody does every day. Like, this isn't rocket science.
Yeah.
This is stuff that's done every day. It's like you said, you're giving them a chance to do what they already would do, but with inside a Qlik so they can do the analysis at the same time. I'm making a change. Let me see what the impact is. Let me look at this other data to confirm, yes, I'll approve it or not approve it. Or, hey, I need to change that number a little bit. I think that's fantastic. I think that's a great integration between normally I do things here locked down, and then I got to wait to get analysis. Let's keep working the way we normally would work, and just extend that to where, hey, normally I have 2 jobs, now I can do them together. And fantastic. That's cool. And then obviously you can save that. You can save these spreadsheets, have different templates for different parts of the organization. That's cool. That's a great way to do that, which is a lot better than what it was looking like it was going to be manual.
But as you said, and I absolutely agree with you, is not rocket science, because the goal is to make it simple. Then maybe it's harder to make it simple in a clean, logic way and leveraging all the different elements of the puzzle. But we have all the power of the Qlik platform, the backend SQL database, and K4 adds some intelligence and a smart way of integrating it.
Yeah, this, and I would call it a smart way to do it. Yeah, I like it. All right.
Okay.
So now we're coming back to the other thing I wrote down. SAP. I see SAP's client up there. Where people would go do work, like supply chain things or budgeting things. And is this, you're going to copy a value off of the right side of the screen and hand paste it over on the left?
Yes, we do support copy and paste, which is extremely advanced technology.
But you can also print it out and write it back.
Yeah, I literally wrote down SAP. I'm a by hand guy. No, I'm kidding. I'm imagining.
You could send me a fax to Germany. You could send me a fax to Germany, and I put it into SAP.
There you go.
Okay, so let me do something here. I'm going to, from the SAP client, I'm going to check the data that we have. Let's see if the connection. Okay. I may have to start the connection.
So you're running kind of a query in SAP.
Yeah.
Look at what the current values are for something. Okay.
And I think I need to.
You got to do a refresh.
It was no, that's fine. It was already yeah.
Okay. I understand the pain of live demos and logins disconnect for security reasons.
Exactly. It was in standby. So let me so we can show that this is a live access to the SAP environment.
Cool.
So,
yeah, I've got a big demo tomorrow, and I'm like the end of a program, but I'm never positive when it's going to get turned over to me. And I am constantly refreshing like 5 screens. And if I keep them refreshed at the right time, usually I get to the last one before then it's, I spoke for 30 seconds too long on the first one, and now it does timeout. Okay.
So here we have some data you can see for this material. We're looking at.
So that is the values that are in SAP now.
Yeah, and these are the same values loaded. If I refresh, we are reading on the fly from SAP. And this is done through an integration with a German software, from Theobald Software, which is the most.
So now, hold on. I'm inside a Qlik. I've got other data. I'm looking at live data out of SAP in K4. And as you're typing, are you telling me you're going to type these numbers and these numbers are going to then go back into SAP by taking action on them?
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. So I'm saving a change from 310. So let's go back and refresh with the same selection. SAP is changing to the default every time. Here we are. That's it. Okay.
That is crazy cool.
Okay. And this is, and to be honest, as I said, this is not our merit only. Is we are doing this thanks to integration with Unio, which is an excellent piece of software from software, which is the leader worldwide in SAP integration and connections.
And now what I could see with that is part of the workflow. Dalton can edit K4.
Mm-hmm.
That information goes to Lars. When Lars approves it, he's allowed to press the button to say, put that back into SAP.
Yeah.
That is amazing. But you guys have created a serious problem for me now. Serious problem. People out there in the world that look at Qlik think of Qlik Sense and Qlik View as visualizing data. Right? You guys have created a serious problem for me now.
Happy problem.
What does Qlik do? What do I tell them now? Oh, by the way, it's really a CPM tool.
Also.
Right?
Yes,
combined with analytics, combined with workflow, combined with taking action on the data and putting it back into your SAP system.
Close your process.
Closed loop process. That I'm gonna reach out to our marketing folks, and we're gonna figure out how to rebrand Qlik as a closed loop process. You see my problem? Like that. Besides blowing minds, that really creates well, how do I categorize this, right? Because business analysts aren't the only ones using the tool, right? And you know, now you need data people in it, because you got a database, and you're putting stuff back into SAP, so you need some oversight from that team, right? And this is a serious solution that should have you laughing all the way to the bank with what you're offering as a competitive advantage, that your competition is still doing it either the old-fashioned by hand way or the way where they go to meetings and then they ask for information back the following week. Right, you can go through these planning and budgeting cycles so fast, doing them live together. I like it. The one other thing I wanted to see, you had teams there on that first slide. So I've looked at this stuff inside of Qlik. What would this look like inside of Teams?
Andrea?
Yeah,
I would like to share. I would like to share 2 slides.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, please.
So you have to stop your screen share, Andrea.
I will. Here we are.
Okay. Just step into 2 slides. So this is an advertising break.
Okay.
You see the slide? Is it shared?
Yes.
That means that is the SAP integration through Theobald software, the small product Unio, into SAP back to Qlik that Andrea showed right now. And the other thing is the integration into Teams, where I would also like to show a short slide that we have that in focus. Just a second, it's over here. just to use and show it to you. No code, dynamic data entry forms, could be budget numbers or could be notes, text, comments. For example, for ESG data that you do not have in SAP or in any other solution, you have to collect and report it for the ESG requirements.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I want to show.
Very cool. So your K4 spreadsheet can be embedded inside of Qlik, and it can also be embedded inside of Teams then. And no matter what that workflow might look like for users, you give them the ability to maintain that workflow, always sharing, looking at, commenting on, moving the data through that workflow together seamlessly.
Right.
Exactly.
That
you
is
see the screen now. I am inside Teams, and I am in a channel in Team, and if I click here, or you will see live appearing, is a K4 live object, which is going to load the data from the backend, the database on the fly.
Wow.
With notes, everything you have seen, even filters, because otherwise you don't have slicers or filters in Teams. So there is no data.
Right.
But we can leverage the fact that K4 has its own integrated filters that which can be used. Yep. And I'm here in Teams. Now, if I want to add a new one, simply a matter of selecting the K4 app and selecting the servers from our demo server. And
so your software is SaaS based, and you have tenants.
Actually, our software is can be run in the cloud.
Okay.
It does require Windows IIS at the moment, but we are finishing the porting to the .NET Core that will be ready for next year, 2024. And this will allow running K4 natively in the cloud.
So it's an on-premise solution at this point.
It's on-premise or in the cloud, but on install.
And that's probably important to some people anyway.
Yep. Okay, so that's it. Is simply that's all you need. Just select a model and use it inside. I can set it and save it. I'm not sure if this model is on our demo server. That was the other one. But you have all the features, 100% inside.
Yep. Very cool. Very cool. And they're both, whether it's Qlik writing to the database or you're doing this in Teams, they're both writing the same database. The information is going to be consistent in both places. If users, if doing the analytics as part of the budgeting is important, they're gonna see that. But in this case, even you're pulling the actuals out of Qlik, right? Qlik was being used to surface actuals.
Yeah, in this case, they are coming from SQL because we have no data here in Teams. So that's the advantage of using K4 inside Qlik, that we can use on the fly Qlik data and calculations.
So cool. So cool. That's this is a pretty powerful solution. I still got to figure out how I'm going to market that. That's game changing, right? Oh, it's part of your workflow, right? Oh, yeah. No, you don't just have to have just business analysts using Qlik, right? Your budgeters are going to be using Qlik.
That they will collaborate. They all will collaborate in a better and easier way.
And you nailed the other word, collaboration. Yeah, there's no doubt. That is very cool. If you can go ahead and stop your screen share there.
I will. Yes.
I will share my screen one more time just for a moment. For those of you whose minds may be just absolutely entirely blown, be sure to go out to k4analytics.com. Check out their website. You will see they've got some crazy cool demos available. You can also reach out to them again. Let me share that information for you. If you want to reach out to Andrea, here's information. Just go ahead and screen capture this and save it in your Word file or print it right now from the screen. And you can also reach out to Lars Buchner. And there's his information for email or for LinkedIn. Go ahead and get a screenshot real quick. I'm going to go ahead and stop my sharing. And guys, I just want to take a few minutes to thank you for your time. I know you're in a different time zone, and you accommodated the Qlik Dork in my data cathedral here in Gainesville, Georgia. I appreciate that. Thank you for being so willing to go down a humorous path to get some very, very serious information out there. It's
it was a pleasure. Thanks for having us.
This is something, no matter what people's business is, they go through planning and budgeting and management. Like every business does this. People at home do this. Whether it's a small, medium-sized business, enterprise-wide, giant conglomerates, they go through this. I think your integration with SAP through your partner is also phenomenal. Really look forward to what you come out with in December. So be sure to follow up with me and let me see that, because I think the integration of that workflow and doing other things would be important. It could be something as simple as, hey, we now have agreed or we've got our sign off for this budget. So now go rerun these other applications. Yeah. And so that's the beauty of being able to integrate the way you've done that with Qlik application automation or are about to. So I think those things would be cool. I think the fact that, you can build your templates right in Excel, which is what everybody does anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But then you can say, hey, this is the way you like to work, but that's not the only place you have to do it. Because now we can take that template, put it into a place that's giving you access to a lot more data. Other than just your planning and your budgets. You get to see the impacts. I could easily see customers, partners building a solution to say, let me take these budget numbers and I'm going to go run Qlik's AutoML and go run forecasting figures on those, right?
Exactly. We have our partners starting doing.
And then get that answer back. And then somebody signs off from that, right? Like you open it up a whole huge world here. There's a new realm for people to be able to work, which I think is fantastic. Any one last thing you'd like to leave, share with me or share with all those watching? Lars?
Thanks. Just one point, to the point, that was to the point in the end. So I think we had 45 minutes crazy fun and pleasure. So thanks a lot. Crazy fun with CPM Bank. That's what we have each day.
Nice. And how about you, Andrea?
I'm really grateful that you gave us this opportunity, because I strongly believe that this could be a different way of taking a journey in integrating, leveraging Qlik for also supporting planning and budgeting processes. And maybe we will have other opportunities to share with your great audience new things that are coming.
Nice. I look forward to that. And guys, again, thank you so much for your time. And I joked about it at the beginning, but it is fun to talk to people who are old souls when it comes to working with data. Right. And those of us who've been in this field more than a couple of weeks know the data is the data, but we don't have to be stuck in the ways that we did things 30 years ago either. right? There's
Right.
people today see some hype for these new things, and they're like, "Oh my gosh!" And it's like, okay, we've had that for a long time. We called it something different a little while ago, but yeah, we can do that too. And I think you guys have a very unique approach to dealing with an age-old problem of planning and budgeting and management, which I think is great. Hope that those of you, if you're still watching, have a wonderful day as always.